Hey guys, welcome back. Today is day 36 in the book What If God Wrote Your Bucket List by Jay Payleitner. The title of today's chapter is Run with Scissors.
Uh-oh.
That sounds very dangerous.
Yeah, and we don't recommend it, for the record.
Yeah, don't run with scissors.
So if you guys haven't been with us for one of our What If Wednesdays, we read a chapter out of this book, What If God Wrote Your Bucket List? And usually it's just a page or two, and it is the author's idea of what God would put on your bucket list if he was writing it for you. So we are going to read it, and then we'll talk about it. He says, I was one of those good kids, not a goody-goody. Not the teacher's pet, not the kind you wanted to smack because they tattled or carried a briefcase to school. I just never really got into trouble. But I'm also not ashamed to admit that I pulled a few pranks in my day. I really can't say much more than that. Before going public, I would have to track down the other perpetrators and get their permission to talk about what we did and where we did it. Since I lost track of them years ago, that just won't be possible. I'll let your imagination take over and then quickly insist that it wasn't a big deal really. Nothing mean, illegal, or immoral. My 5 kids were also good citizens and role models, and continue to be. But in the years since they were in high school, as we've sat around the kitchen table, I know where this is going, once in a while a story never previously revealed will spill out that will have Rita and me laughing until it hurts. It's a blessing, really. Alec, Randall, Mac, Isaac, or Ray Ann will recall an inspired moment from years ago that eventually led to some shenanigans. If we had known at the time, Rita and I would have had to deliver a short lecture or admonition. That's what parents do. But looking back, no harm, no foul. Again, don't let your imagination run too far. But trust me that the laughs in recent years were totally worth the slight bit of mayhem back in the day. Isn't it weird how, as you get older, you get more and more comfortable with telling your parents things that you did back in the day? Now, what does God say about this? For sure, God knows our heart, our mind, and our actions, and we will be punished or rewarded accordingly. Jeremiah 17:10 reminds us, I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind to reward each person according to their conduct, according to what their deeds deserve. God knows our motivation. What is a motivation? God knows our motivations and shortcomings, and he readily acknowledges that he designed young people to sometimes push the limits of right and wrong. Proverbs 22:15 confirms, folly is bound up in the heart of a child. Ecclesiastes 11:9 even seems to give teenagers and children permission to go a little crazy, but make sure you read the entire verse. It says, young people, it's wonderful to be young, every minute of it. Do everything you want to do. Take it all in, but remember that you must give an account to God for everything that you do. I take all of this to mean that sometimes, especially in our younger days, God expects us to get into some mischief, to do stuff with the singular purpose of making friends laugh. After all, Ecclesiastes does say there is a time for everything, including a time to weep and a time to laugh, and a time to mourn and a time to dance. And that's in chapter 3, verse 4. Maybe we should do something our mommy told us never to do. Of course, with appropriate boundaries. Something that even our daddy said was too dangerous. Something like, I don't know, running with scissors. Sound too daring for you? That's not surprising. Most of us have been told since we were 4 years old not to run with scissors. We've also been told that swallowing watermelon seeds is death-defying. Or you'll get pregnant from doing it. That's what we got told. If you cross your eyes, they'll stay that way, and you must never, ever go swimming until an hour after you eat.
That was always so annoying.
Yeah, but it was 30 minutes, so not an hour, right?
Yeah, we always got told 30 minutes. Every day we seem to have more rules and more laws. Some seem arbitrary, some seem like overkill, some feel as if they're just begging to be broken. Their only purpose seems to be to put roadblocks in the way of experiencing the world the way God created it. Don't climb too high, don't talk to strangers, don't put that bug in your mouth. But you know what? Mountains need to be climbed, strangers need friends, and many cultures, bugs are a healthy snack. At this point,
I guess he's got a point there, but
at this point, my lawyers have advised me to remind all readers that this short chapter does not encourage or permit any reader to make illegal U-turns, tear tags off mattresses, steal packets of artificial sweetener from restaurants, text in a movie theater, or ignore the laws of your local, state, or federal government. Now, if you already run with scissors, knock over outhouses, and bend most of the rules you meet, then clean up your act, for crying out loud. But if you're a goody two-shoes in constant fear of tarnishing your reputation, then I've got some news for you. Your reputation needs some scuff marks. You're imperfect anyway, so you might as well act like it. So whatever your age, I recommend you call up one of your slightly rowdy friends and plan a day of adventurous, good-natured mischief. You may want to consider cow tipping, loosening the tops of salt shakers at your favorite coffee shop. Ooh.
you wouldn't.
Talking loudly in a library, calling the zoo and asking to speak to Mr. Lion, or tying 100 helium balloons to a lawn chair and cruising the neighborhood treetops. Absolutely obey all of God's rules. Feel free to bend all the others. Why is that such a big deal? I don't get it.
Why is it a big deal to tear the tags off your mattress?
Who knows?
I mean, I think my mattresses still have tags, but like, if I wanted to tear them off, I'd tear them off.
It says on the tags, don't tear them off.
Well, that's dumb.
I think it is too. Whatever.
That might be the mischief I get into. I'm going to do it just to say I did it.
I'm going to eat a watermelon seed tonight.
And at the bottom, he's got checking the list, and it says, just to clarify, the goal is to reflect God's glory in your life, to find joy in the day-to-day interactions with friends and family. You want a non-believer to look at you and say, I want more of what they have. Finally, if you're going through a miserable season of life, this may be the most important chapter in the book. I urge you to ask God for some joy. In John 16, Jesus promises his disciples, I will see you again, and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy. And that's verse 22. And it goes on to say in verse 24, until now you have not asked for anything in my name. Ask, and you will receive, and your joy will be complete. And then a little check mark that says, be unshackled. Live in the light of joy. So for me, this chapter, I think he's just kind of pointing out, don't be afraid to have fun. People are going to talk. They're going to say what they want to say. We have got a wasp flying around us. There's going to be critics everywhere you turn. And yeah, it's good to make sure that everything that you're doing is glorifying God and abiding by the laws set forth by God and the examples set forth by Jesus. But at the same time, you have to enjoy your life too. So don't be afraid to do something fun every once in a while, even if it might be like an unharmful prank.
Her boys tend to do those all the time. They're a little ornery.
Mm-hmm. I might get a few notes from them on how to be a prankster.
So that is all for this chapter. Come back next week for chapter 37, and the title is Advocate Science.
Interesting.
That sounds very scientific.
Very scientific. So if you're interested in that, then you can join us next week. We post videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Wednesdays are obviously the What If God Wrote Your Bucket List. And then Mondays we do a Bible study, and Fridays we just do something silly, lighthearted, fun, something that gives us joy. So we hope to see you guys there. We hope you have a good day and a good week. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.